Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Tuesday evening here with us on YouTube for Kabbalah.info. And if you've just joined us, and if you're new to the YouTube channel, please make sure that you listen to the previous semesters so you understand what's going on. Other than that, we're just going to carry on with what we're doing in the morning lesson as usual. And if you'd like to study the wisdom of Kabbalah with like-minded people, you can always visit Kabbalah.info and visit the website there called KabU, Kabbalah Academy, and get yourself into a course if you like. All right, so today we're going to have a short and hopefully a sweet lesson, and we're going to carry on with what we did in the morning lesson with the Rav. We're going to open up the topic, going above arguments with the will to receive. All right, so this morning I think we started reading from item number 7, I think, this morning. So what we'll do is we'll start from the beginning. Obviously, the best person to learn this from is the Rav, but going over these materials is actually good for us. It'll actually get us prepared for the morning lesson. And it's an important topic, so we'll understand how to deal with these matters as we go along. And the more we go through these materials, the more we chew them, really, and it will give us an opportunity to digest them more and to get in there and so forth. All right, without further ado, let's just get started. So the first excerpt is from Rabash. Also, if you have any questions, just shoot them through. We'll try to answer them from the text as best we can. This is from Rabash, article number 7. What is man and what is beast in the work? As long as one has not corrected the sin of the tree of knowledge, he tastes the taste of dust. When one wants to do his deeds in order to bestow, which is called Shekhinah in the dust, he must not tell his body, called the will to receive. In other words, he must not tell the will to receive for oneself that he does not feel any awe with regard to spirituality. He should not even discuss work matters with his will to receive, since he must know that no arguments with the will to receive will help him. Therefore, when a person comes to a state of being poor, he must only ask the Creator to help him and give him the strength to overcome it. All right, let's read it again. Standard procedure. Let's go over it twice. As long as one has not corrected the sin of the tree of knowledge, he tastes the taste of dust. Right, so as long as we haven't corrected our will to receive for ourselves, as long as we haven't corrected our egoism, for us, bestowal, right, the work of bestowing is like, bad taste, right? No taste, tastes like dust, dry and awful. So that's the situation. This is before correction, right? This is before any spiritual attainment, but we are trying to get spiritual. We're working on it. When one wants to do his deeds in order to bestow, which is called Shekhinah in the dust, he must not tell his body, called will to receive. So when I'm studying the wisdom of Kabbalah, I'm trying to correct myself, trying to get out of my egoism, I shouldn't argue with my will to receive for myself. It's like I'm keeping him on the side. I'm not dealing with it. There are some people out there, you just don't, they're there, but you're just not, you're just not in their face. Okay, so think of your will to receive as someone that you don't want to be in their face with. Okay, let's have this. So we study the wisdom of Kabbalah, try to get ourselves elevated to a higher level of consciousness, which is the attribute of bestowal. And whenever, because our egoistic nature is always thinking about ourselves, whenever we want to bestow to somebody, it's just going to complain. And we don't want to be arguing with it. In other words, he must not tell the will to receive for oneself that he does not feel any awe with regard to spirituality. He should not even discuss work matters with his will to receive, since he must know that no arguments with the will to receive will help him. Therefore, when a person comes to a state of being poor, he must only ask the Creator to help him and give him the strength to overcome it. Okay, that's basically it. All we have to do is, when the will to receive complains, don't argue with it. just carry on with your standard procedure. It's like this. It's like I go to a job I don't really like, but I have to work, so I go and do it. Okay. And I say to myself, well, I'm not going to complain. Why? Because it doesn't help. All right. So I understand that complaining about a job that I have to do is not going to help me out. So why bother going into this discussion with myself about something that's not going to help me out? Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. Okay. Same with our will to receive. So we're keeping spirituality and corporeality separate. All right. Keep it kosher. Therefore, when a person comes to a state of being poor, he must only ask the Creator to help him and give him the strength to overcome it. So when a person feels weak, helpless, feels like, he or she can't overcome the situation, there's only one thing we can do, and that is pray. Okay? And we've been through this thing quite a few times, this concept called prayer. And it's really important for a person to do as much as he can in his spiritual work, so that when he or she has really accumulated a lot of work, they can really feel like they need help. And that's that sensation we need to get to, like we really feel that there's nothing else I can do. Either the Creator has to give us a hand, or this is over, game over. Yeah, that's just how it is. All right. So this is excerpt number 2. Are there any questions, by the way? No, not at all. Okay, no worries. If you have any questions, you can always shoot them through. Let's go to item number 2. This one's from Baal Islam's Shemati article number 19. What is the Creator hates the bodies in the work? We must know that during the work, when the will to receive comes to a person with its arguments, no arguments or rationalizations help with it. Though one thinks that they are just arguments, it will not help one defeat his evil. Instead, as it is written, blunt its teeth. This means to advance only by actions and not by arguments. This is considered that one must add powers coercively. This is the meaning of what our sages said: he is coerced until he says, I want. In other words, through persistence, habit becomes a second nature. Right, let's read this again. We must know that during the work, when the will to receive comes to a person with its arguments, no arguments or rationalizations help with it. Though one thinks that they are just arguments, it will not help one defeat his evil. So, like I said a minute ago, this is really important, right? There's no point, right? It's not a matter of need. There's just no point in arguing with someone you can't defeat. Okay, so it's like, blindly going into a fight with a pro MMA fighter. It's just, you're just not going to make it. All right, it's not possible. So the same thing here. The ego is very strong. It's cunning. It will trick us in every way, just like in real life. Even when we do bad things, we always have something to justify ourselves with. Why? Because the ego is like that. You'll always find your ego, if it's in the favor of the will to receive, justifying itself. It's never going to badmouth itself. That's for sure. All right. So there's no point in arguing with someone who's cunning, smart, and the Creator created egoism. How can we even think about defeating a force that the Creator created? It just doesn't make sense. So what should we do? Because our egoism is strong. Every time we want to do a good deed, every time we want to advance forward in spirituality, it's giving us a bunch of dramas, right? Because life is squeezing us all the time as well. Life is also bringing us a bunch of stuff all the time. Bang here, bang there, this and that, this and that. So I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Right? So on the one hand, life is pressuring us. On the other hand, we have a dot in the heart. That's pressuring us too. we're always in this sandwich mode, right? You know, it's like those toasters. Okay, there's a bread at the bottom, bread at the top, and you're the cheese in between, and it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter. Okay, that's how it is. So until you come to a melting point, okay, and that's when you can turn to the creator. So that toaster in life, from both sides, like heating, it's hot on both sides. And, you know, until you completely melt away and fall off, you have the opportunity to pray to the creator. So what do we have to do? So instead of arguing with our will to receive, instead, as it is written, blunt its teeth. This means to advance only by actions and not by our arguments. So it's important for us to sometimes, when we have a mundane job in corporeality as well, but we have to do it. Just, you know, just keep your mouth shut and just get your job done and then go home. All right, we just, you know, you have to be a bit pragmatic about it. So how do? We just keep doing our routine. This is why we've got framework, right? A study framework is really important. So if you're studying with B'nai Baruch, I'm sure you have a framework. And it's very important to maintain a framework, because then I know my boundaries. I know what I'm going to do. All right. A framework actually really helps a person to keep him or herself in the game all the time. So by doing all these actions that we do in the group, I actually give myself the opportunity to stay on the path. This is considered that one must add powers coercively. Why do I have to coerce myself? Well, because I don't want to bestow. Just like I don't want to go to a job that I hate, right? But I coerce myself to get up in the morning, to go to work and so on. Why? Because I got rent, I got kids, I got mortgage, I got this and that, right? So you got to pay your bills off. So on the one hand, you don't like the job. On the other hand, you feel like you got to do it because you got dependents, people depend on you, and you know, you got a life to live as well. So same here. On the one hand, our will to receive is against this situation. But on the other hand, you understand the importance of actually going beyond your corporeal boundaries and elevating yourself to a higher state of consciousness. So if we can do this kind of stuff in corporeal, in our corporeal lives, then surely we can do it in the group as well. The beauty about it in the group is, you know, people appreciate you. They appreciate the path you're taking. They appreciate your existence. They like the fact that they've got other people who are like-minded, so they can, you know, like, you know, get force from each other and motivation from each other. And we can kind of like, you know, all get along. It's like a bunch of kids in kindergarten, right? So we're all kind of like hanging out together in order to get this thing done, despite the fact that I might have a few tasteless moments regarding bestowal or the objective that I'm trying to reach, because it's against our human nature. But nonetheless, as they say, the more the merrier. So if you've got a good crowd there, good group in there, then you can stick your head in. And the whole spiritual process, on the one hand, it can be dry, but on the other hand, it can be really fun as well. Okay, so we've got to keep that liveliness within the group. This is considered that one must add powers coercively. So I've got to go against my nature. Now, I have to know this in advance, right? We have to understand that trying to reach bestowal is going to be against our nature. Therefore, our nature will resist. So if I know my nature is going to resist from beforehand, then obviously, you know, I can like wake up. I can say to myself, oh my God, I don't want to do this. And then I can say to myself, oh yeah, but I'm supposed to go against my nature. All right. So to know that we're supposed to go against our nature by pushing ourselves against our will to receive for ourselves is an advantage point, because knowledge can help you overcome what you're going through if you have understanding. Right? So the understanding, the knowledge allows you to reconcile your feelings with the goal and what you have to do in order to get to the goal, despite the fact that you don't want to do it. And this is the whole idea of, you know, getting into a lesson. This is why we have lessons. This is why we study on a day-to-day basis. This is the meaning of what our sages said. he is coerced until he says, I want. In other words, through persistence, habit becomes a second nature. So the more we do it, the more we get into this routine, it afterwards becomes a habit. And then, because it's a habit, we can then actually do it a bit more comfortably. So until then, though, we have to keep pushing. And if we do it in the group, it can be fun and much more easier than doing it on our own. On our own, it's just really not possible to elevate ourselves spiritually, because spiritual elevation, according to the wisdom of Kabbalah, in any case, depends on how we develop our feelings towards what's outside of us. And what we perceive to be outside of us are all the other people, nature, life, everything else is like outside of us. So if we connect correctly with everything on the outside, especially people, then we can get that good feedback, which we can work with in order to move forward. All right, I'm going on to number 3. Okay, so no questions until, oh yeah, there is one question. Okay, so there's 9 of us in the group. With me, it's 10, is it? So 9 watching plus me. Oh, it's great. We got a real 10. So Dragon is asking, did you have any extraordinary experiences, but you're not sharing with us because it's hard to explain by words, or maybe because we couldn't understand it? Well, look, just like our faces are different, the way we feel everything is different. And the reason we don't discuss spiritual topics like spiritual feelings and how we understand that feeling with other people is because the way you're going to feel it is going to be different, because you're Dragan, right? I'm Mutlu. And I can never be you. You can never be me. And we shouldn't have to be like each other either, because the Creator created everyone very uniquely. Right? Everybody's very unique. So the way everybody perceives reality is unique to that individual. And why is that important? Because according to how I perceive, I'm going to be able to fulfill that blank that I need to fulfill. You know what I mean? It's like a big jigsaw puzzle, and no 2 pieces are the same. And when they all come together, though, from their own perspective, they make one big picture. So this is why it's not spoken about, and it's very good that it isn't, because it then allows the other person to always think like, oh, I need to feel this, when in fact you don't. You could feel the same phenomena completely differently, in a different perspective, in a different way. Okay, we may all see the same sunlight, but the way you feel it, the way you perceive it, the way, what it means for you can be completely different. We can both like chocolate, but I can guarantee you the way I do, the way you do are going to be different. So quantity-wise, quality-wise, we're all different. Okay, and to share spiritual experiences with other people at a verbal level, it will just confuse everyone, because everyone will start to think that, oh, I need to feel this, I need to feel this way, I need to feel like that, when in fact, you don't have to. All right, and this is why spirituality is so unique. Everybody has their own kind of uniqueness in the matter. Okay, so not because Kabbalists are, hiding anything from anybody. It's actually it's like a trap to a person if you do that, because your head's going to be stuck there all the time, and it's really hard to get out of that situation, because you're always going to be thinking, oh, this is how I should feel, this is what I should do, and this is how my sensations should be, and so forth. I don't know if I managed to explain that correctly, or in a comprehensible way, but this is how it is. Okay, so don't feel like Kabbalists are hiding anything. In fact, they're writing everything to us in such a way, like in the Talmud Eser Sefirot, right? The study of the 10 Sefirot plus the Zohar. They're writing to us everything in an open way that a Kabbalist would understand, right? So in the spiritual worlds as well, they're talking about desires and lights, okay? But a certain desire and the connection with the light for that individual Kabbalist is going to be different. They're going to have some common phenomena, but the details, the depth, the taste, the varieties of the things, sensations one will feel will be different to another Kabbalist. Just like in this reality, we learn, for example, I don't know, biology, right? So we have a general structure, let's say, of a human body, if we're talking about biology of a human being. And it's the same body for, body parts and everything. It's the same thing. So we're all studying the same thing as doctors. However, though, the way we delve into the material, the way we feel it, the way we understand it is all different. And that's how it should be as well. All right. So no problemo. It's okay is asking. It seems as if the teaching is a preparation for something we haven't experienced yet. Are we preparing for experiencing what real bestowal might feel like, and we won't want to do it? Well, even before spirituality, I think we can feel this stuff if we put a bit of effort into it, right? It's all a matter of effort. There are two ways to look at an article. When we study an article, there are two ways you can look at it. One is you feel or you went through an experience which the article is talking about, and then the article gives you an explanation. And with that explanation, you can reconcile your feeling or what you went through or your experience. Right? So you went through an experience and the article is talking about that topic, and then it gives you the mind now to evaluate and to discern what you went through. Okay, so that's one way an article can help us. The second way is the article is talking about something and I have no idea what it's talking about. Okay, because I've never been through anything, let's say it's written about. So I'm still studying the article, but for me at this moment, it becomes an intellectual exercise. Why? Because I haven't gone through any sensations that it's writing about right now, which is also good. Why? Because now that I know about it, if I go through something that the text was writing about in the future, now I have the mind to evaluate something that I'm going through emotionally. Okay, so that now becomes preparation. Okay, so two ways to look at it. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, ask again. But this is how we study an article, right? I've either gone through something emotionally or sensationally, and the article is then clarifying it for me intellectually, so I can reconcile the situation. Or it's talking about something I haven't been through, but now I know there's such a phenomena, and when I go through it, then I've got the mind to deal with it. All right, let's do another one. Are we on number 3? Yeah, we're on number 3. Let's do this one as well. I said today was going to be short and sweet, so we're going to stop at 8:30 today, unfortunately, but it'll still be good preparation for tomorrow. Now, excerpt number 3, Rabash article number 1. What does may we be the head and not the tail mean in the work? When the body asks questions and wants to understand everything within reason, we must tell the body, your questions do not interest me, since I'm going above reason. This is the meaning of the saying that he looked at him and turned him into a pile of bones. That is, turning him into a pile of bones refers to his questions, since when one goes above reason, there are no questions and everything is cancelled. All right, so let's read it again. When the body asks questions and wants to understand everything within reason, we must tell the body, your questions do not interest me, since I'm going above reason. Right, so above reason means I'm disregarding my will to receive for myself. I'm putting it aside and I'm saying, I don't care about how you feel. I'm just doing the work. That's it. But because our will to receive, so will to receive, right? And what's more pleasurable than to know something, right? So knowledge has a lot of pleasure. So the will to receive wants to know everything. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? What's the benefit, right? If I want to know something, it means, what's the benefit of all this? Okay, so the will to receive by asking questions, why, it's because it wants to see if there's a profit there for itself. And if there is no profit, it doesn't want to be there. because that's how the will to receive works. So when it's asking a lot of questions, Rabash is saying the best way to treat it is to ignore it. Okay, just ignore the questions. How? By going above reason. Now, going above reason is to be in bestowal already, right? But if I'm not there, how am I going to go above reason? Okay, like in the excerpt, it wrote above what we have to do then. It's like push ourselves to keep our frameworks so we keep moving and flowing with the group. This is why the group is really important, because then I've got a boat which I can hold on to. Okay, I've got something to hold on to. It's sometimes like, I think it was a nice example when we were having a chat with the 10 yesterday. It's like the group is holding you by the hand, and you are in a swamp right up to here. Okay, but the group is holding you, so you're not sinking. Okay, you're not sinking, but the group has enough strength to keep you there, so you can still breathe, eat, and drink, but you're in the swamp. Okay, so it's like on the line. Do you know what I mean? You're like on the edge, and that edge is not a bad place to be in, because that's where you actually constantly make your free choice. Okay, so you're always on the edge. So you've got one side where the will to receive is like a swamp. It's like dragging you back all the time. And the other hand, you've got a place to hold on to. Now, how much you hold on depends on how strongly you hold on to the group. Okay, so the more you squeeze with your hand, their hand, then they're going to squeeze more as well. Okay, so if you're loose, the group's going to be loose. If you're tight, the group's going to be tight. So we need to understand here that keeping ourselves on the path above reason, when we're not in spirituality yet, when we cannot go above our reasons yet, is by sticking to the group, by making the group, the path, the creator important for ourselves. That's the meaning of the saying that he looked at him and turned him into a pile of bones. That is, turning him into a pile of bones refers to his questions, since when one goes above reason, there are no questions and everything is cancelled. All right, so turning into a pile of bones is the ability for us to go above the drama that we got in our mind at the moment by the help of the group. That can only really happen if I give importance, if I get from the group importance. I mean, how's the group supposed to hold me? Obviously, they're not physically going to come and hold me by the hand like kids. Most of us are studying virtually, right? So the group, everybody in the group, not just the friends, but me as well, all of us need to give a good example and a good push always towards developing our spirituality. And the more I actually think about the benefit of others in spirituality, the more forces I will get. So if I'm doing more and more in order to bestow to others, I will get more force back. The less I do, the less force I get back. Okay, it's really important to understand this little topic. In spirituality, it's a law. If you bestow more, you get strength more. If you don't, you won't. Okay, simple rule. All right, in corporeality, it works the other way. In spirituality, it's the opposite. Right, yeah, so we're going to call it a night today. Sorry for the early finish off, but there is a question. They have stopped me. Okay. No running away. Lisa is asking, faith above reason, both with corporeal desires and spiritual desires. Well, look, above reason means I'm already above my desire to receive for myself, right? Going above reason means it means I already exist above the will to receive. So it's already a spiritual state, actually. Okay, going above reason means I'm already in, some spiritual understanding, even if it's a minimal. All right. But if we're not there yet, okay, so if I'm not in spirituality, and if I can't, if I'm stuck in corporeality and I don't have a spiritual dimension where I can just, go over the will to receive, what I can do is I can use the environment to raise myself above the current state I'm in. And that is, again, what we can call going above reason from our level, okay, even though it's not spiritual at the moment, even though we're not perceiving spirituality at the moment, and we're not in the spiritual realm at the moment, I can still use the environment to say to myself, I'm not going to do what my desire to receive says, but I'm going to do what the group says. How does that help me? Well, that helps me in this way. I nullify, by doing this, I'm actually nullifying my personal desire to receive, and I'm taking on board what the group says. So this is the same thing, right? It's exactly the same mentality as I would if the creator was in front of me, right? So for example, suppose I want to go and eat ice cream, and the creator says, listen, you can't have ice cream. Well, we haven't had dinner yet, and we're not going to have that before dinner, okay? So I'm thinking, oh, okay. So if I had the creator in front of me, just like I'd say to the creator, oh, okay, we'll do it after dinner, right? The same thing with the group. It's exactly the same mentality. Just think about it for a moment. Whether I've got the creator in front of me or whether I've got the 10, the group in front of me, is no different. It's just how I relate to them. Okay, it is all about how I'm relating to what's in front of me. So behind the group, there's also the creator. So me, without any spiritual attainment yet, even if I just started today now, if I take upon myself to go with the flow of the group, instead of according to what I think and what I want, then that's already, even like little kids are playing around, is still kind of like going above reason. So this is something we can practice all the time. All right. When we study an article, you can always take something from that article with respect to where you're at. Okay, so don't ever think that the article is also, somewhere out there, which, is just too high for us. Some things may be, but there's always something we can take to help us out with. All right. Hope that clarifies things. Okay, so whether it's corporeal or whether it's spiritual desires, the important thing here is to be in the right direction. Right? What do I want from this? Right? The intention, in other words. All right. So, for example, I'm doing a bunch of things during the day as well, and some of them are fun and enjoyable stuff. Not making life hell for myself. Okay. But where's my thought? Where's the intention? Where, what's my direction? What do I actually want to achieve? So the desire is like in the background, okay? And my mind, the rosh, okay, the head is like on top of the desire. So things are going on here, but my head is directed towards bestowal, towards the creator, and so on. Okay? Try to delve into it a little bit. We'll see how things go. We'll carry on doing this next week as well. So we finished item number 3. We'll start with 4 next week and see how things go. All right. In the meantime, once again, apologies for the short lesson this week. Hopefully we'll carry on with a regular 45, 50-minute or a 1-hour session next week. All right. All the best. Have a good one. Bye-bye. See you next time.